Chapter 2370, High-Grade Spirit Purifying Array. Published by Divine Tao Library. Translator, Salavan and Rykov. Translation checker, Pew Pew Lasergun. Editor and proofreader, Leo of Zion Mountain and Dale Ligerkeys. There were only a few emperors in Clear Sky Island, so Ling Yin-chin did not expect that the person she randomly bumped into during her trip would have the potential to break through to the Emperor realm. Once this Yang Kai made a breakthrough, he would certainly be able to occupy a seat in Clear Sky Island, and could in turn shelter her whole crew. However, only those who have lived in the solitary void-sealed world for a long time would understand that this place was simply a grave for cultivators. A cultivator whose cultivation did not regress with time here was already considered blessed, and even if one was lucky enough to sense an incoming breakthrough, there were very few who could succeed. Ling Yin-chin had seen too many people who failed to break through in this damned place, causing them to lose all their cultivation and become crippled. So, after her initial shock, the gaze which Ling Yin-chin directed at Yang Kai became sympathetic. She could tell that Yang Kai was still young, so to be able to reach third-order Tao Source realm proved his aptitude was exceptional. He should be the young rising star of a great sect outside, and given time, it may not be impossible for him to get a glimpse of the mysteries of the Emperor realm. But here, the possibility of failure was very high. Yang Kai's face turned anxious. He had no idea why Ling Yin-chin was looking at him full of sympathy. Receiving no answer from her for a while, he pursued the question again, "Big Sister Ling, do you know anything that can help? Are you really going to break through?" Ling Yin-chin couldn't help but suggest, "If you're absolutely confident you can do it, then never break through in this solitary void-sealed world. You're better off cutting off your own cultivation." Yang Kai was dumbfounded and he subconsciously asked, "Why?" Zhao Yi said, "Brother Yang, the solitary void-sealed world is not a suitable place for a breakthrough. You know as well as us that the endless stream of disruption force that flows in this world. 99% of the people who dared to break through here have failed. Big Sister is just watching out for you." Yang Kai was truly shocked now. He had previously thought that this was not a good place for a breakthrough, but he didn't expect it to be so serious. It did not seem like Zhang Ruozai's chi fluctuations could be suppressed at all, and if she cut off her cultivation as Ling Yin-chin suggested, then Zhang Ruoxi would never be able to advance to the Tao Source realm in her life and could only remain at the Origin King realm. Since she would be extinguishing her own martial Tao, no pill or treasure would be able to help her recover. The rest of the crew members were looking at Yang Kai with sympathy, as if he had suffered a great misfortune. They did not care about him crashing into Ling Yin-chin as much anymore either. It would be too cruel to focus on such petty matters as that when a young man before them was about to come to the end of his martial Tao. Yang Kai was only taken aback for a moment before his look turned into one of resolution. "Please, I still wish to seek Big Sister Ling's guidance." When Ling Yin-chin saw how insistent Yang Kai was, she knew it was useless to dissuade him, so she could only say, "I have a high-grade spirit purifying array here. It may be able to help you." There were 4 grades of spirit purifying array: low, medium, high, and peak. These days, during his chats with Zhao Yi, Yang Kai got to know that the spirit purifying arrays set up in the ship rooms were all low grade, because the higher the grade of the array, the more expensive it became to arrange. The price of each higher grade array would be at least 10 times that of the previous grade. Ling Yin-chin's group were struggling cultivators in this solitary void-sealed world and did not have the financial resources to hire someone to set up a more powerful spirit purifying array. Yang Kai also did not expect her to actually have a high-grade spirit purifying array. The more advanced the grade of a spirit purifying array, the greater its effects were. Spirit purifying arrays were like a net that filters out the disruption force from the world while also hindering the flow of world energy. So, regardless of how dense the world energy was, places with spirit purifying arrays set up would have less dense world energy available. The higher the grade of a spirit purifying array, the less world energy it blocked out, so the world energy available within would become denser, making cultivation inside much more effective. Yang Kai was in great joy. "Many thanks, Big Sister Ling." When Ling Yin-chin said she was going to take out her high-grade spirit purifying array, the other crew members on the ship could not help but pale in response. Zhao Yi even whispered, "Big Sister Ling, that spirit purifying array." Ling Yin-chin interrupted him with a wave of her hand and took out a set of array flags before handing them to Yang Kai. "If you can't do it, then don't force it." Then, she stuffed a jade slip into Yang Kai's hands as well. "This is how to set up the array. It's very simple, you'll understand if you look through this." "I'll remember it." Yang Kai nodded sincerely. Even though he had no idea where this high-grade spirit purifying array came from, he knew how immensely precious it was to Ling Yin-chin just from the looks of the crew members alone. Otherwise, it was impossible for her not to take it out to use normally. Based on what Yang Kai knew, the spirit purifying array set up in Ling Yin-chin's room was also merely a low-grade one. He also had no idea what the story behind this high-grade spirit purifying array was. However, he decided inwardly that he was going to give Ling Yin-chin compensation after the matter was over. I still need to bother Big Sister Ling with one more question. Are there any islands nearby here? Yang Kai asked. Ling Yin-chin looked up and said to a cultivator whose face was covered with a big beard, "Hand me the map." The cultivator took out a piece of beast skin from his space ring and immediately spread it out in front of Ling Yin-chin. Yang Kai also went over to take a look, but he couldn't read it properly. Ling Yin-chin's gaze swept over the map for a while before pointing to a certain spot. Southeast, 500 kilometers from here is a small island. Yang Kai cupped his fists. Many thanks. By the time he finished speaking, his body had already teleported and disappeared from sight. The entire crowd was shocked, and even Ling Yin-chin's beautiful face paled as none of them saw how Yang Kai left. Even though she knew that Yang Kai's cultivation was at the third-order Dao Source realm, she never expected him to be so powerful. Just from his movement skill alone, Ling Yin-chin was unable to find any traces of Yang Kai at all. If a man like this wanted to kill her, she would be completely defenseless. Instantly, Ling Yin-chin was feeling thankful that she had strictly forbidden her crew from picking a fight with Yang Kai. Otherwise, nobody would even know how their entire crew ended up dead. Senior brother, he's actually going to break through to the Emperor realm. Someone murmured quietly from the side. Ling Yin-chin looked over and saw Lu Xianyun standing there worriedly. She followed Yang Kai out of the room and heard the conversation clearly, so she was a bit shocked. Unlike Ling Yin-chin, who did not know Yang Kai well, Lu Xianyun had been cultivating next to Yang Kai these days and she did not notice any signs of him breaking through at all, so how was he suddenly breaking through to the Emperor realm? But after the shock passed, she only felt concerned because Ling Yin-chin had put it very clearly that breaking through in the solitary void-sealed world was extremely risky. Big Sister Ling, my senior brother, he. Lu Xianyun looked towards Ling Yin-chin. The latter sighed and said truthfully, there is little hope, and it is basically impossible to accomplish. Lu Xianyun's face paled, and she almost toppled over from shock. An amazing talent like Yang Kai was going to be ruined here in this damned place. And the root cause of this was her. If they had not encountered each other in Marsh City, then Yang Kai would never have stood up for her, much less attracted the attention of an old monster like Yao Changjun. Then, Yang Kai wouldn't have been chased all the way to the depths of the solitary void mountain range and gotten swallowed up by the solitary void sealed world. The more she thought about it, the guiltier Lu Xianyun felt towards Yang Kai. If he failed to break through here, then whether he became crippled or died, it would all be her fault. Big sister, that spirit purifying array was what Big Brother Joe gave you back then. How could you? Zhao Yi looked at Ling Yin-chin with lament. Ling Yin-chin answered, he's in urgent need of it, so what's the harm in lending it to him? Zhao Yi said, but if he damages it. If you needed to break through, I would also lend it to you. The crew knew that Ling Yin-chin was not lying, her character was just like this, cold on the outside, warm on the inside. Yang Kai was just a hitchhiker who had nothing to do with her, but she still lent such a precious spirit purifying array to Yang Kai. But the preciousness of that spirit purifying array was not in value, but rather the sentimentality of it for Ling Yin-chin, so even though everyone knew that Ling Yin-chin had a high-grade spirit purifying array, they never asked her to take it out for everyone to use. Everyone just used their own meager spirit purifying arrays, slowly cultivating to stem the speed of their cultivation's regression. Spread the order, we will anchor here for a few days. You should all disperse as well. Ling Yin-chin waved her hand and excused everyone. The dozen crew members all looked at each other, not daring to say anything more, and left. Senior brother Zhao, that Big Brother Joe you mentioned just now. Who is he? Lu Xianyun followed Zhao Yi towards the cabin and asked. Zhao Yi said, he was Big Sister's partner. When Big Sister and Big Brother Joe both fell into this damned place, he brought us together to scrape out a living, but one time at sea, Big Brother Joe was killed by a sea beast while protecting everyone. The only thing he left behind before his death was that spirit purifying array. He sold off his own artifact to buy it, and if he still had that artifact, then Big Brother Joe might not have died. When the past was mentioned, Zhao Yi's emotions began to fluctuate and his fists were clenched, clearly showing that he received a lot of care from the man surnamed Joe and had long recognized him as a family member. Big brother Joe really did treat big sister Ling well, Lu Xianyun muttered. For the sake of his partner, he was willing to sell off his artifact in order to buy a spirit purifying array. It seemed like a stupid thing to do, but who could criticize him? Now you know how precious that spirit purifying array is to big sister, right? Zhao Yi gritted his teeth. If your senior brother damages that spirit purifying array, I, old Zhao, will be the first one to not let him off. Even though Zhao Yi had great conversations with Yang Kai and Lu Xianyun during these days and received a lot of source crystals from him, he still stood firmly on Ling Yinchin's side when it came to that high-grade spirit purifying array. But after the fierce talk, Zhao Yi added a little vexingly, I apologize, old Zhao's temper is bad. I shouldn't be saying this to you. We don't even know if your senior brother can return safely. It's fine, I understand how senior brother Zhao feels. Lu Xianyun waved her hands. She couldn't help but fantasize about Yang Kai leaving something behind for her too. It didn't matter whether it was valuable or not, she would still treasure it.